Good evening. First tonight, the grim warning from health bosses in Jersey. Flu cases and chest infections are on the rise, and people who catch flu and COVID this winter double their risk of dying. So today, the message to the old, young and vulnerable is to get both the flu and the COVID jab to protect yourselves, others and the health service. Caroline Lewis is at the vaccination centre for us tonight. And Caroline, seems we're not out of the woods just yet.
Well, quite. And it just seems that as we're getting used to the new normal, that threat of COVID rears its ugly head again. And that's because we haven't really seen how COVID and flu mix. Last winter, we still had a lot of restrictions and we were heading back into another lockdown. We were all staying away from each other, which has also led to concerns that perhaps our immune systems aren't where they should be. And that's why so many people are being asked to go and get the flu vaccination.
Winter is coming, and with it comes a new threat from an old virus.
Flu often is misunderstood as a nasty cold, but people die from the flu, and the death rate every year rises when flu starts to rear its ugly head. COVID's still around. We think flu is going to hit the island as well as everywhere, and so we're preparing ourselves for problems. Nobody knows exactly how people are going to react with flu this year, but we're expecting it to be potentially quite severe.
Health professionals say they've already seen a surge in respiratory viruses, and there's fears that flu plus COVID-19 could be a fatal combination.
If people get both viral infections at the same time, then they will have an increased morbidity and mortality, and some people estimate that the mortality will be twice that of being infected with one alone. You don't necessarily need to get both viruses at exactly the same time to fare badly. You can get them consecutively, and if you're still recovering from one infection and get infected by the second virus, then you will feel even more poorly.
And while the vast majority of us are now double jabbed against coronavirus, there's a big push to get people protected against the flu to avoid the health service being overwhelmed this winter.
We have been saying repeatedly that this is a concern, that people should be taking up their flu vaccine offer as well as COVID vaccination this coming season to help protect themselves, protect others and maintain reconnection.
So who needs to get the jab? Well, it's currently being offered to over 50s, those in high-risk groups, pregnant women, health workers and children. And the message is get jabbed sooner rather than later.
People can go to their GP or pharmacists. Equally, the school children are having it in schools, and in nurseries we've got a team going out giving it in nurseries as well. Alternatively, if you're at the vaccination centre having your booster campaign, then we would say come and have your flu vaccination at the same time, so you can have that choice too.
So while we may have come a long way from lockdown, with winter looming on the horizon, vaccinations will once again be key to making sure we keep our newfound freedoms.
Well, the flu vaccination programme kicked off today. In fact, you saw some people in that report getting their flu jab alongside their COVID vaccine, which we've been told is perfectly safe. But you're not being encouraged to wait until you get your booster to get your flu vaccine. In fact, get it booked in as soon as possible. It's really just another way people can do their bit to make sure we keep moving forward and out of the pandemic. But as ever, any questions or concerns, go and speak to your doctor or come up here to the vaccination centre and they'll be able to answer any of your questions.
Caroline, thank you. So let's check the latest COVID numbers now. In Jersey, there are 219 active cases after 22 new ones and 13 recoveries. 8 people are currently in hospital, and in Guernsey, 27 new cases have been found. 8 recoveries means there are 111 active cases. 2 are in hospital. From tomorrow, children identified as direct contacts will no longer be sent home from school or nursery unless they have symptoms. That's on the condition they produce one negative PCR test and negative lateral flow test over 10 days. Performances, shows and events are also being reinstated. In the next hour, young people, parents and carers in Jersey can ask a panel of experts about the coronavirus vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds. The online live stream aims to give teenagers the chance to raise their concerns about the jab. A motorist is in hospital after a car crash in St Catherine's. Emergency crews were sent to the collision earlier this afternoon near the lifeboat station. 2 people, including the driver, were hurt, but their injuries aren't believed to be serious. And the children's pool at La Valette in Guernsey is to be closed for emergency repairs this Thursday and Friday following storm damage. It's a temporary fix until more extensive renovation planned for early next year. It's due to reopen on Saturday. Now, full and reliable broadband across Guernsey has been a long time coming. It's been a decade since Jersey approved plans to roll out fibre optic cables to every home in the island. Tomorrow, Guernsey will vote on whether to do the same. Their multi-million-pound strategy aims to do away with patchy connectivity, but it will take 5 years to put in place. Catherine Levy explains.
Guernsey's states have grand designs for the island's ability to compete as a global digital hub. Its digital framework explains the bailiwick's coordinated policy across government, industry and the community during the current political term. It was published the day before the states votes on funding the £12.5 million needed for the rollout of fibre optic cable connections, a vital part of delivering next-generation digital infrastructures on the island.
We know going into the election last year that connectivity and digital connectivity were one of the top asks from industry. We've all been through the pandemic. We've seen the importance of remote working and learning, but also buying products and services online. So I think, if anything, this has really shown how important it is.
The strategy has 3 core areas it wants to develop to bring the island in line with other jurisdictions: infrastructure, developing digital skills and innovation transformation. Shaw Telecoms have worked closely with Digital Guernsey on the infrastructure with its plans to bring fibre to the island, but it's also dedicated to developing digital skills.
It's absolutely vital to ensure that the whole ecosystem builds and that every business here has access to the right digital skills. Shaw itself is investing heavily in this area. We've created 75 new roles which will be associated with the fibre rollout. But not only that, we're also investing heavily in making sure that we have the right digital skills to be able to support business customers in particular on making their own digital transformation. So, for example, in the areas of cloud and cybersecurity, those are the type of skills that we're investing in here at Shaw as well.
We have some world-class companies, whether it's in insurance, in trust, in gaming and so on, that actually are really world-class leaders in their markets. And I think we can do more of that. Are we going to become a Silicon Valley? No, we're going to become, we're building our own identity.
Guernsey's a small island with big aspirations to join the global players on the digital landscape. Catherine Levy, ITV News.
Now, the lesser-known story of a World War II pilot who parachuted into Nazi-occupied Guernsey by mistake is about to make it to the big screen. The film, which charts Flight Sergeant Robert Sterling's daring mission, is having a special premiere tomorrow. Kate Prout, who's already seen it, met his grandson and the director.
My dearest Betty, I hope you're keeping well and that Jerry is not causing too much damage north of the border.
This is the story of an unassuming man who had an extraordinary escape, played by Guernsey actor Dave Hyatt in the film Sterling's War.
I have been told I've got a bit of a 40s look, which is good for this, obviously, piece. You get to do characters and make them your own from script, but portraying a real-life hero, is what I see it, is massively privileged to me.
On the night of Friday, the 11th of April 1941, Bobby Sterling saw off 2 German planes in his one-seater Hawker Hurricane, then found himself off course and out of fuel. He parachuted onto Liu Island, walked through a minefield, and that's where the film takes up his story.
It was fun. It was also quite challenging as well. We were filming on Liu Island. The terrain there was quite tough at times. We had the wind against us, the rocky terrain, but yeah, we pulled off. We're lucky to have a lot of equipment to clothing and so on to make the film look as realistic as possible. And thankfully, there was a lot of wind on the day, so it gave the parachute a bit of lift.
Bobby's grandson, Gregor, recently visited Guernsey and said his grandfather was typically reticent about his war experiences, including a prisoner of war camp, although they've always known his story.
More recently, with the work that Tim and Gaz and Dave and the team have done, they've obviously taken the story and made it accessible, or make it accessible to a much wider audience, which is great. But obviously Bobby's story is just one of many stories, and countless just won't ever be heard. So for us, it's great that it's being made available for a wider audience to hear.
Bobby always kept in touch with the family who helped him evade capture that night, and they've all helped Tim Osborne piece together the full story.
It's taken quite some time. I tried to get as much detail as I could. And in actual fact, Kate, that even up to the last few days, we've still had documents coming to us directly related to this story and directly related to Robert Sterling.
A tale of luck and love that still resonates 80 years on. Kate Prout, ITV News.
Wow, can't wait to see that. Now onto the weather. Another dry, sunny day across the islands. Let's see if that's set to continue. Here's Sophie.
Making the most of the day. ITV Channel Islands weather. Sponsored by Shaw. Mobile, broadband and home phone.
Well, we've had some really beautiful sunsets the last couple of nights. Do keep your photographs coming through. Looks as though the next few days we're going to see a continuation of the relatively dry, settled and even sunny weather. This area of high pressure is the culprit. There may just be a bit more in the way of cloud in particular on Friday and again on Sunday. But on the whole, we're going to continue to see fair periods and tonight's no exception. However, there is the possibility, as you can see, just one or two little showers just springing up here and there. Not going to amount to much, it has to be said, but with the cloud cover and the very light winds, temperatures won't fall away any lower than 10 or 11 degrees. As for tomorrow, most of those showers move away pretty swiftly, maybe one or two building across France and just clipping us throughout the course of the day. But on the whole, dry, settled, relatively sunny and temperatures a fraction warmer than today, potentially 16 or 17 degrees. The sea state remains slight and in fact times of high water for you are midnight tonight and around midday tomorrow. And the outlook, well, as you can see, plenty of sunny periods around. Possibility of a bit more in the way of cloud on Friday and again on Sunday, but the winds start to change direction, drawing up slightly warmer temperatures as we head into the weekend as well. So we'll see temperatures top end of where they should be. Bye for now.
ITV Channel Islands weather. Sponsored by Shaw.
And that's it from me this evening. I'll be back just after 10:30 with your late news. See you then. Bye-bye.